We're using AI and machine learning technology to help us derive our own pricing.
Bots are notoriously irritating.
We're using it more as a scalability kind of tool.
There are several companies under the Rostro umbrella.
Brokerage, and then we have payments, and then we have a hedge fund, and then banking, so a full suite.
Where do you think people should invest their cash right now?
You're struggling to find value, however, there is opportunity.
Why Dubai?
It's kind of like the secret's out.
Hello, this is Leaders Insights, where we hear from influential voices across industries. Rostro is a fintech group of companies that's helping people take control of its finances. And I'm joined by its CEO, Michael Ayres. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
At Rostro, you have created a fintech and a financial services company that aspires to cater to everyone. How are you making accessibility to financial markets both inclusive and personalized?
So it really starts with the type of customer that we would serve. So we have a range of different individual investors, from new market entrants to high net worth individuals with more experience. And then on the institutional side of our business, we will service asset management firms, hedge funds, regional banks. So the spread of customer base that we have throughout the group is diverse. So we're really touching a lot of different profiles of clients. And then how we're kind of listening and understanding in terms of what they all need is really based on our product-led design. So we're very much focused on the technology behind the business, and then our global presence in terms of licenses and offices that kind of span across all the continents.
Let's talk a little bit about the technology you're using. How are you using AI and blockchain to enable people to acquire, manage, and control their finances?
So we're looking at it in two parts, essentially. So there's market access, which is how we take our products, the range of different asset classes, exchange traded products globally, put it on a platform and give it to our customer. And then secondly, it's how the customer's experience and their engagement, how they communicate with us, how that part works, basically. So the first part around market access, we're using AI and machine learning technology to help us derive our own pricing, which basically means that we're able to construct our own price for foreign exchange, gold, US, European equities, and all that does is translate into a better price, more access for our customer. And then secondly, on the customer experience piece, it's really around when our customers want to inquire about new products, or they have a question about their trading account, holidays, investment holidays, they're able to speak to us continuously 24/7. And we're using AI bots and kind of machine learning algorithms to kind of intuitively respond, get back to our clients, so that they're able to get their answers a lot quicker from us.
Bots are notoriously irritating to use. How are you ensuring that your AI bots are actually answering the questions that your customers are asking?
That's a very fair point. So I think from our standpoint, because we're coupling technology with human intervention and a team, so we have a CS team that's sat across the globe. They're the ones that are really monitoring, and we're using it more as a scalability kind of tool rather than the way that a customer will get spoken to. So if a client isn't happy, they can fall through and speak to an agent, have that personal conversation with someone. So we're really trying to kind of come from both angles, really.
There are several companies under the Rostro umbrella. Tell us a little bit about some of those companies.
Yeah, so we've been very busy. I mean, we've got 5 different pillars that sit within our group, starting off with the brokerage pillars, which are Scope and Scope Prime. Scope services individual investors. So if you're looking to open up your first trading account or to passively invest in equities, we've got an offering that's suitable for you. If you're an asset management firm, wealth management firm, and you're looking for more market access or better rates, better service, that's where Scope Prime comes in. And then we're adding in our payments vertical, which we'll be launching and branding by the end of this year. Our hedge fund, which we're very excited to bring to market, will likely go live next year in terms of its brand and its kind of client-facing stage, right now we're in the internal optimization period in terms of our trading strategies. And then the fifth pillar is our private bank. So a high touch service for high net worth corporate clients. So brokerage, and then we have payments, and then we have a hedge fund, and then banking. So a full suite of financial service products.
And we've seen the American markets fluctuate incredibly since Donald Trump was elected president. My portfolio has gone up 10%, it's gone down 10%, and now it's making its way back up. And then we see the Chinese market benefiting from DeepSeek. Where do you think people should invest their cash right now? What markets and what industries are most interesting to you?
So I kind of look at this in two distinct different ways. One is, it'll be very cliche, trend is your friend. So technology-driven businesses, AI is at the front. We've seen that, as you say, with DeepSeek. Potentially looking at alternative companies outside of the US and China would be, from a risk-reward perspective, might be interesting. The alternative is to look at it from almost a contrarian investor view. Big tech, the US equities are kind of pushing on all-time highs, and again, so you could look at more traditional assets such as commodities, oil, gold. We've seen a big push in gold over the last 16, 17 months. My expectation is that will continue. So yeah, it's really kind of, and at the end of the day, it's all about having a balanced portfolio. So as long as you're able to be diversified, you should be good in the long run.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost hard to judge where to put your money. Gold is at an all-time high. It's expected to reach 3,000. You mentioned the tech sector. Tech stocks are already really expensive. So it's difficult to really assess where the best buy is.
Yeah, I think we're due, I don't like the phrase correction. I think post-COVID, with the influx of supportive capital coming in from governments as the countries needed so, we've seen inflated asset prices. Real estate, the same in the mature markets. So if you look at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin's broken 100,000 and then kind of hovered around that area. So you're struggling to find value. However, there is opportunity always. And I think my eye is a bit on the non-metals kind of commodities space, softs, energies. I think they have an opportunity to kind of progress and move higher for people.
What are your 5 corporate pillars? You touched on them earlier. Tell us more about them, if you would.
Yeah, definitely. So our DNA is a trading business. Roger Hambury, our founder, he had decades of experience setting up, running, exiting businesses in the financial services space. My background is trading and operations. So we kind of have that within our core. So the starting place for our group had always been the brokerage piece, which is Scope, which services individual investors, Scope Prime, which prices a variety of different asset classes to institutions and corporates, so hedge funds, small regional banks, asset wealth managers, get access to international stocks, CME listed futures, foreign exchange, all under one account, one umbrella within our group. The next 3 are really where we're kind of pushing for the future. Our payments business will go live before the end of the year, which is focused on financial firms, tech firms, and real estate, looking at the kind of businesses that maybe struggle to get banking relationships. And then the hedge fund, which is why we created a hedge fund, is because we have this internal expertise in equities, futures and options, digital assets, foreign exchange, because we're structured more like an investment bank than a typical brokerage, who would usually have this as one department. We've broken this out, and our belief was we should be able to generate alpha as good as, if not better than, people that we see externally. So we created the hedge fund, couple of years to build up our track record, and then I think we'll be seeing a big influx of funds coming in, investment into that vertical. And then the 5th pillar, which is our private banking entity, is designed specifically for high net worth, private clients, institutions, corporates. So we won't be doing retail banking, but we're really looking at where there's synergy benefits across the 5 pillars. So some of these pillars can operate as customers of other pillars. Therefore, we maintain control and influence and kind of benefit of leverage across the group by having all of that under the Rostro umbrella.
And you mentioned some businesses that are unable to bank with traditional banks. Does this have to do with KYC, with certain regulations? Why aren't those regulations applicable to Rostro?
I think it's a combination of things from what we've seen in terms of our kind of market research. Jurisdiction is one, so it may well be that our business model is very much built on taking mature product to emerging markets. So trying to compete where there's maybe less competition because people haven't gone before, haven't been there as long. So there's just been this kind of resistance, I think, from traditional banks to come into parts of Middle East or Africa and cater to those clients and what they need. We saw that as our opportunity to kind of step in and provide all of these different services. So it's mainly jurisdiction, but local licensing and our regulatory framework enables us.
And you've chosen Dubai as your base to really work your business properly and to launch your 5 pillars. Why Dubai?
It's kind of like the secret's out. I think Dubai used to be a venue for local market participants. So I have experience traveling here for the last 15 years from the UK and Europe. It was mostly just about local market access, language capability, GCC region. And then what we've now seen is this huge transition into it being a true international hub. You have people coming in from the US, from Asia, Europe, infrastructure's here, healthcare's strong. So we look at the overall economy as well as our business in terms of where we want to be, because that will influence me in terms of talent acquisition and retention of staff. And we also see, I feel it, there's a innovative spirit in Dubai. You go to a hotel lobby or a coffee shop to have a meeting or conversation, there's an energy in the room, and that matched what I wanted and what I was looking for Rostro.
You're absolutely right. How would you say the future of decentralized finance looks, especially in relation to traditional banking? And when will people, the majority of people, have access to money and be able to use money without a traditional banking intervention?
It's a very good question. For me, the place of a bank has always been the place of trust. The intermediary that whether you're looking to save, invest, borrow, you go to a bank. That's been for centuries the place where people would go. So I don't see that necessarily stopping, but like a lot of things in time, I see it evolving. I feel like open finance, decentralized finance, they're technology enhancements that will support and evolve how banking works, not stop it in its tracks completely. A bank is a big business. They're well structured, but then they lack agility. They're not nimble. So a fintech business that is powered by technology and breathes that culturally has for me a compatibility with a bank. So I see them as more complementary aspects. I think decentralized finance, I think more in kind of frontier markets is where the opportunity would be, where people have to walk for hours to go to their branch at a bank. I feel that's where technology, mobile access, the infrastructure is going to have its biggest impact.
And how long will it be before all of us have access to decentralized finance and use decentralized finance regularly rather than thinking of our traditional banks?
I think from my standpoint, it's still some time. I think it's not round the corner. I think regulation is the key component that we would look to see. I'm interested to seeing now with kind of Donald Trump's regime coming into play and his kind of pro kind of crypto and digital assets and DeFi and blockchain kind of all in one bucket now. Seeing he's pro, I feel that will kind of lead some regulatory reform and some kind of, it's very difficult for other nations, other countries to really get behind this if the US isn't, because you have the dollar that's so widely used in trade, dollar intermediary banks that are very much kind of critical to everyone that's being banked. So I think this period, we'll know the answer, I think, in the next 3 to 4 years. I don't think it'll be sooner than that. So I think in 3 or 4 years, if I come back and answer the question, I'll give you an accurate answer to that one.
Okay, I'll hold you to that. And then we see a lot of banks in this region opening challenger banks. What's the value in challenger banks, and are they able to help with decentralized finance adequately, or is it just a gimmick?
I don't think it's a gimmick. I think that, and I know that there are genuine businesses out there, businesses that are tech driven, and I know it from my standpoint, like we're trying to be a balance between a robust financial institution and then a nimble technology driven entrepreneurial company. So it's difficult, but I feel these challenger banks, they harness that kind of innovative spirit, customer centric, solutions minded approach to things. So I think there'll be a lot of opportunity for large incumbent banks to acquire these challenger banks or technology companies. That's a lot easier than them starting their own development plans and development cycles. So yeah, I think it's the real deal. Not every firm, but certainly most of them.
And you say measuring KPIs and ROI are important, but aren't the real measure of success in business. If they aren't, then what is?
So before I answer that, I'll say to OKRs and KPIs and other metrics that business use, there's a place that we operate with them. So our model is that we kind of start with vision. So last year I presented to the entire organization what we call 2030 vision. So where are we going? What's the North Star? Why are we all here? We're the investment bank of the future. And I broke that down into very high level but different kind of components. I spoke about the 5 pillars. From there, I take everyone back to a 1-year view, 2025 strategy. And then we operate with quarterly OKRs, so objectives, key results, and then metrics that are KPIs. KPIs will tell you afterwards what's happened. Did you reach a number or not? Did you achieve something or not? What you're learning along the way is far more valuable. So we operate with KPIs, we have OKRs, I share them globally in all our offices. But the most important part is around people and culture. So there's a saying that's culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it took me a while to understand that. You build a good culture, you will very much quickly recognize why that saying is true. You want people to wake up on a Monday morning, want to come into the office, they feel trusted, they feel empowered, they recommend the business to their friends to come and join. These are really small but impactful pieces of what we track and monitor. So yeah, we're very much focused on people and culture as the driving force.
And speaking of people, how do you ensure that you recruit the best people that complement your skills and that are actually attuned to the aspirations of the various companies in your group?
So I've taken an approach when I've interviewed and recruited for our exec team globally, where I'll share the vision. So before I even get into their CV, their experience, I'll start with what I want us to look like and the design for 2030. If they don't see that, if they don't attach themselves to that, then this won't work. Like bringing them in will not. They can have the skills, they can have the expertise. We have to be binded to that long-term kind of core belief that 2030 we're going to be this business. So I almost start with an inverse in terms of how we interview and recruit. I would say culturally one of the biggest things that's helped us draw fantastic talent to the door to have that conversation with us is being authentic, myself, the company, being open to feedback, like sharing who we are, like being very kind of vulnerable as a business. I've had people come in and go, wow, that's refreshing. And I feel like good people gravitate towards that environment. They want to work there. I don't need to check every task and follow up every day, but create the right environment. And sharing the vision coupled with the authenticity that I was talking about has just allowed me to have people come, apply, interview all around the globe, different levels, different departments. So yeah, I'm truly blessed with a phenomenal team.
And you say that your approach to leadership is, quote, about embracing the journey, embracing uncertainty, learning from mistakes, and valuing the whole team. But practically, how do you actually do this?
Yeah, so I mean, the answer is yes to all of what you'd quoted. I mean, I learned quite early on in my career to embrace failure. I found myself given opportunities where I could take decisions, learning quickly, failing quickly. That's how you build experience. That was a quick thing for me to understand. And I said to myself, when I build an organization, I need to create that environment for others. They need to be able to thrive in that environment. For some, it doesn't work. For some, they don't want that to be the place where they come in every week. But we trust people, we empower them, we allow them to take decisions. A few examples being, I will consciously say to our team in town halls, I want people to experiment. And by virtue of an experiment, you're going to fail sometimes. But go into it with the vision, the strategy, understanding what we're trying to achieve, calculate your risk, take a decision, and if you fail, what do we learn? So we have a project management office that does retrospective, look-back analysis on all projects that we launch. And I want to hear that we didn't do something well, or this didn't go to plan, because if we don't, we probably haven't looked hard enough. So I'm encouraging people to take chances, see what they can do, push boundaries. So culturally, that's what we've kind of created. And then I think for me, it's about reflecting on what people have generated and done for the company, giving them credit. No matter what the level of the person within the organization, everybody creates an impact. So we do that through company newsletters, through the town halls. We publicly shout out different people. So we're very focused on recognizing who's making a difference to the business.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here today. And I will follow up with you in 3 to 4 years for those crypto insights out of the States. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me. Thank you.